With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 350 plus undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu. At Arizona State University, we've made online education better, smarter, and more personalized so you can go further in your aspiring field.
I decided to pursue medicine once I realized that ASU did have the online program for biological sciences. You're still required to learn the same curriculum. You're still being tested on the same content that anyone would be tested on in person. The comprehensiveness of the program prepared me so well for medical school.
Explore over 350 plus programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
There's a reservoir of power you can tap into to increase your potential to do good in the world, find more meaning in your experiences, and savor a fuller range of humanness. Without it, you'll miss the opportunity to connect more deeply with what life is all about and might end up creating an unwelcome future. In health and aging and everything else, you make what you believe to be true, true. You're listening to the Health Courage Collective podcast, episode 212, Biohack Paranoia to Age Better. Welcome to the Health Courage Collective podcast, the show for women who are too busy to slog through hours of generalized, inapplicable, and often contradictory health information, but too smart to ignore that a few minutes of focused attention now can prevent years of suffering in the future. I'm your host, Christina Hackett, a pharmacist who doesn't want you to live on prescriptions, a certified coach specifically trained to maximize your potential, and a compulsive learner obsessed with preventative, cutting-edge, holistic, and integrative medicine. I'm on a mission to increase your physical and mental resilience so you can fearlessly look forward to your next 40-plus limitless years. Your time is now. Let's go. Hey, welcome to another episode. So glad you are here today, and I hope your life is going really well. How are you feeling about lithium? Have you considered adding a milligram to your typical day? It might provide you with a significant amount of protection for very low effort and low cost. I'm all about your doing the highest leverage actions to create the future you want. Today, we're going to talk about leveraging the power of paranoia to alter how well you age. What do you think of when you imagine a paranoid person? Someone subsisting on beef jerky and canned beans, communicating exclusively via ham radio from an underground bunker in the Badlands? Do you think being paranoid alters your reality? Not just what you perceive as real, but what actually happens to you? There are a few different dictionary definitions of paranoia, including being unreasonable or obsessively anxious, suspicious, or mistrustful, and feeling extremely nervous and worried because you believe that other people do not like you or are trying to harm you. Do you think you would have a different future and a different experience of life if you always believed that the world was against you and trying to harm you? How so? If there were two versions of you who both had the same intellectual knowledge and both worked from the same to-do list, even doing the same actions, lifting weights via functional movements, verifying that you eat enough protein, tracking your sleep, moving frequently throughout the day, etc., etc., do you think they would both have the exact same outcome if one of them did all the things while being constantly, unreasonably, and obsessively anxious, suspicious and mistrustful, nervous and worried because they believed that everyone and everything was trying to harm her? But why? If you're checking all the boxes and doing all the things, why does what only exists as an electrical potential inside your brain matter? Do you build clinically measurable less muscle or have physiologically lower functioning mitochondria inside your cells when you're obsessively suspicious and mistrustful of life or the world or the process? Totally. I like Gay Hendricks and The Big Leap and believe what he says about each of us having an inner thermostat setting that determines how much love, success, and creativity we can have. That we're each running some kind of unconscious thermostat program that keeps us at a certain set point where we're comfortable, whether it's optimal for us or not. Usually not. I think paranoia is similar. If we truly believe deep down that the world is out to prevent our success or make us fail in some way, we're unconsciously all teed up for failure. We don't realize it, but we see everything that happens in the normal course of our days as evidence that people and circumstances are actively trying to prevent our success, that we're victims destined for a disappointing future. We like to be right, and we make what we subconsciously believe to be true. Being paranoid alters and influences every aspect of our current and future realities. If we know that paranoia works against us, how are we going to do what I told you this podcast was about? Using paranoia to our advantage. Paranoia, even in small amounts, is a powerful subconscious force working in the background all the time. So why not flip it around and have a powerful subconscious force working in the background all the time to our advantage? Have you heard of W. Clement Stone before? I recognized his name and remembered that some of his teachings are cited by Rhonda Byrne in The Secret, but I didn't realize that he lived from 1902 to 2002, which I think is pretty great, and that he was a philanthropist in addition to being a business and thought leader. He gave away more than $275 million to charities in his life, and he had a funny mustache. He was 27 to 39 years old during the years of the Great Depression, which I would imagine had a great impact on his thought processes and business systems. In a book he wrote in 1962, he said, "Every great man, every successful man, no matter what the field of endeavor, has known the magic that lies in these words. Every adversity has the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit." What do you think? Does every obstacle or problem possess the potential to be an equivalent or greater benefit to you? He continues by saying, "What an incredibly positive belief. Imagine how much easier it would be to succeed in life if you are constantly expecting the world to support you and bring you opportunity. Successful people do just that." End quote. Jack Canfield, who started the Chicken Soup for the Soul books and was also on The Secret, said this in his book, The Success Principles. "My earliest mentor, W. Clement Stone, was once described as an inverse paranoid. Instead of believing the world was plotting to do him harm, he chose to believe that the world was plotting to do him good. Instead of seeing every difficult or challenging event as a negative, he saw it for what it could be. Something that was meant to enrich him, empower him, or advance his causes." End quote. How do you think your future and current life would be different if you really, truly believed that the universe was constantly conspiring in your favor? That everything that happened to you was to your advantage? That challenges and setbacks were actually there to enrich or empower or advance your cause? Just like being paranoid alters every aspect of our current and future realities, being an inverse paranoid does exactly the same thing. How would your life be different if you truly, really deep down believed that everything that happened to you was to your benefit? Everything, big and small, was orchestrated to drive your life forward, to build your success. Flipping our dictionary definition, if you were an inverse paranoid, you'd be unreasonably or obsessively calm, sure, and trusting. You would feel extremely relaxed and unconcerned because you believe that other people like you and are trying to help you. How would life feel right now if that were your operating system? How do you think your future might be different? You make what you believe to be true, true. What challenges are you experiencing that might be evidence that the universe is conspiring in your favor? Could unexplained headaches, food intolerances, getting passed over for a promotion, betrayal by a friend, fatigue, night sweats, loneliness, wrinkles, thinning hair, or poor aerobic fitness be conspiring in your favor? How? How could things you would never wish to have happen or that are annoying or unpleasant be conspiring in your favor? What equivalent or greater benefit might they be carrying the seed of inside of them? In episode 147, Embrace Your Inner Loser, we talked about this advice from Arthur Brooks, and I think it's so fabulous that I'm reiterating it here. Episode 147 has more context and details about it. So Arthur Brooks says that while gratitude journals are good and you should keep them, the most powerful thing you can do for your happiness and your life is to journal about your negative experiences. Keep what he calls a failure and disappointment journal. Journaling about our negative experiences dramatically improves our genuine happiness and the quality of our lives. Whenever something is bugging you in a big way or making you really sad, don't try to sweep it under the rug or force yourself to think happy thoughts. Write about it in your failure and disappointment journal. Marissa didn't return my text. Nobody RSVP'd to come to my party. I didn't get the job I thought the interview went really well for. I froze and didn't get my point across at today's meeting. I missed my daughter's audition. Whatever it is, every time something comes up, you write it down. Then you leave 2 blank spaces after it. This is the important part. You need to remember to come back to it. Write the dates and come back to it often, or put a reminder on your calendar. In 30 days, you come back to the first empty spot and write down what you learned from that negative experience. What did you learn over the course of 30 days from that experience? The second blank space is to come back in 6 months and write down something good that happened as a direct result of this seemingly negative event. It might be something like, I didn't get the job I really wanted and I thought I really came across as my best self in the interview. 30 days later, what you learned is that you thought you'd be crushed for the rest of your life, but it was really only 4 or 5 days, and then you started to feel okay again. And that you really can find a way to trust that things happen for a reason and that it was worth applying, even if the rejection stung. Then 6 months later, you can come back and write down the good thing that happened was that you found a different job that allows more flexibility in your schedule than you would have had at the other place, and you never would have had this position on your radar if you had accepted an offer at the other company first. The point is that if we don't get methodical about our failures and disappointments and revisit them on a set schedule, we'll miss the opportunity to learn and grow from them. Our failures and disappointments are our best opportunities to infuse our lives with meaning, satisfaction, and even enjoyment. In other words, true happiness. Arthur says that if you do this consistently, you'll start looking forward to disappointing experiences so you can write them down and use them as an opportunity to make your life better. It's alchemizing bad to good. Better than good. In fact, it's making it so there really isn't good and bad, just feelings, experiences, and information. We're meant to have emotional experiences, but we're not meant to spin out and go off the rails from them. We should treat emotional information as data to learn from. Oprah says it beautifully in her book with Arthur Brooks that emotions are just a tap on the shoulder that tells us we need to pay attention to something. It's up to us and our prefrontal cortex to decide what we want to do with that information. Positive emotions are good at reminding us that we want to do whatever caused them again. Negative emotions don't feel good, but they have the potential to make us way happier than positive emotions do. Weird, right? If you keep track and write down what you learned and how your life is better at 30 days and 6 months afterward. You're not at the mercy of your haphazard emotions or chasing a fleeting feeling. You're making deliberate decisions based on data. Happiness isn't a feeling. It's what you do. It's what you choose to do with feelings. Despite what we're conditioned to believe, life doesn't have to be all smiles, fireworks, and flash mob dance parties. We don't always have to turn a frown upside down immediately or ignore our sadness. The secret is to ritualize a method to capture the things we wish we didn't do and the things we wish didn't happen to us, and to do it regularly. By revisiting our negative experiences and making ourselves see the things we learned and the ways we grew, we realize that everything is working in our favor after all. Lucky for us, there's no shortage of circumstances and choices that lead to adversity, failure, and disappointment in our lives. When life takes a left turn and it's tempting to feel like it's against you, you don't have to be excited about losing your pet, not being able to sleep, or your adult child who makes questionable decisions. You just have to be open to the idea that this annoying thing has the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit inside of it. It's an opportunity to practice your philosophy and grow stronger. At the very least, it's content for your failure and disappointment journal, which will eventually infuse your life with meaning and depth. I think being an inverse paranoid can help us create more impactful futures and more joyful lives. Of course, being an inverse paranoid doesn't mean being naive or clueless. There are times when a good tinfoil hat can pay off. When doctors only care about the symptoms and don't believe there's a deeper root cause to discover. When you're dismissed, but you know something's not right. When it feels like you're being forced onto a path that financially benefits big pharma or big food or big agriculture or big beauty. You can be an inverse paranoid and still be astute, perceptive, and strategic. Some conspiracy theories are worth considering. I was recently listening to a speaker talking about how it's pretty natural for us to think that the younger and less experienced you are, the greater your potential is. It makes sense to me. Toddlers are like the ultimate in potential. They can do anything someday. Whereas it seems only natural to think of a 50-year-old woman as having less potential. But why? I don't know. It just seems right. But really, the opposite is true. Every experience we have, especially the negative ones, gives us more experience that adds to our potential to achieve. Our potential grows with age because we've acquired so much more experience. Everything we experience adds to our potential and can make us stronger, kinder, and better if we let it, if we operationalize a way to harness its power. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope you take the opportunity to become an inverse paranoid and use all of life's twists and turns to become a better version of yourself. To see that every adversity contains the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit, even if you don't know what that benefit is yet. Just knowing that the universe is constantly serving you up benefit seeds turns up your internal thermostat of possibilities and the way you view your experiences. You make what you believe to be true, true. Next week, we're going to talk about a prescription I believe every woman should be on. Until then, look for the seed of equal or greater benefit in every adversity, and don't be normal. Thank you so much for tuning into the Health Courage Collective podcast. I am truly honored that you have paid me the enormous compliment of your time and attention. I would be so grateful if you would share this podcast with someone you know and subscribe so you never miss an episode. This podcast is for entertainment and information purposes only. Statements and views on this podcast are not medical advice. This podcast, including Christina Hackett and producers, disclaim responsibility for any possible adverse events by use of information contained herein. If you think you have a medical problem, consult a licensed physician.